Let's switch gears away from the market and talk about the startup company Transfr. It's just closed a $40 million Series C funding round, and of course it uses VR headsets to help train workers for, quote, middle skill careers. Now that's defined as jobs that need more than a high school diploma but less than a college degree. And I'm thrilled to say that joining us now is Bharani Rajakumar, founder and CEO of Transfr. And 2 points to start. Number one, congratulations. And number two, talk to us a little bit about the fundraising environment right now. Obviously, you just successfully raised money. What was the process like given the backdrop?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm super thrilled to share our news. As you said, we closed a Series C. It was led by ABS Capital. A gentleman by the name of Phil Clough, who's the chairman there, has joined our board. We're thrilled to have him. As you said, it's a pretty tough environment to fundraise, so we feel really fortunate. That being said, we also are lucky to have a up round. It wasn't a down round or stale. But I want to tell you a little bit just about what Transfr does for a second, because I don't know that everybody has heard of us. So what we do is we're creating a platform for enabling people to get on a pathway to upward career mobility. And we focus on jobs that do not require a 4-year degree. So jobs such as in manufacturing, in the skilled trades, in healthcare. And the way we do it is we create these job training simulations in virtual reality so people can put on a headset. They can do the job before they get it. So when they walk into the interview with the employer, they have the confidence that they have the skills, and the employer can see that they are capable and job ready.
So you're selling this directly to the employer, right?
Well, to maximize our impact, we work with high schools, two-year colleges, unemployment offices, and nonprofits that share our mission, such as the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, because that's what I was going to get at. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when you had shop class in high school and they taught you some of these trades, even if you weren't going to use them. The idea was that this sort of provided you a sort of a broader base to determine what you wanted to do in life. And of course, we know with budget cuts in education, a lot of that stuff has gone by the wayside. How receptive have some of these departments of education and other organizations been to this technology?
Well, they're really excited because, one of the challenges right now in the macro environment that's talked a lot about today that was less so 5 years ago is that right now there are about 10,000 to 11,000 people, baby boomers, that are retiring per day. And so there's a lot of people leaving the job market. Meanwhile, there are not a lot of people that are leaving trade schools, because for the last 3 decades, most people thought that the only way to have success in America is to get a 4-year degree. And so because you have this supply and demand imbalance, now you have people leaving the market and nobody with the skills to replace them, that's creating an opportunity. So the Bureau of Labor Statistics, for example, says there are 10 million jobs that are available, and there are 8.1 million people looking for work.
How do you determine sort of what types of jobs you target, though? Because, I mean, we know there are certain jobs now where there's a big skills gap, but there is also jobs that may actually be gone at some point because of automation. And there are other jobs, particularly with some of the new semiconductor plants that are being built, where you've heard the companies say there just aren't enough Americans out there right now to have the skill set to actually come into these factories and start work on day one.
That's right. So the jobs that we focus on jobs that pay $50,000 to $100,000 a year, and they don't require a 4-year degree. So I want to explain just how this is kind of playing out for various sectors. So in the automotive sector, for example, you have companies like Tesla and Toyota, and the automotive sector is going to need about 400,000 auto technicians by the year 2030. And right now, there are only about 40,000 that are entering each year, and you got to account for the folks that are leaving each year as well. Meanwhile, in the electrical space, so we work with a company called Trio. The U.S. Department of Energy has a net zero emission goal by the year 2050. They're saying they need 900,000 electricians. Right now, there are only 800,000 electricians, and the big problem is about 50% of them are over the age of 45, so they're going to be retiring in the next 10 years as well. Lastly, in healthcare, depending on what report you read, everyone agrees that there's a nationwide shortage in nursing. Depending on what report you read, there's up to a shortage of about 1.1 million people by the year 2030. So this is what's kind of creating the opportunity for, like you said.
So you're training nurses too?
We're training people who want to go into that career pathway.
I got you.
That's right.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation because a little while earlier on the program, our Mike McKee was talking with Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin, who made the point that there's bifurcation in the labor market. And when you look at the middle skill sector and you see the data coming through on your businesses, what is the health of that segment of the labor market?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, what we're seeing is that there's still a lot of opportunity for hiring, right? And to your question earlier, the reason why I think our customers are excited to work with us is they need a plan for folks after they move on in life, right? So far, the plan has been go get a 4-year degree. Well, about 50% of people do not actually finish the 4-year degree program. And so the opportunity really is filling this supply and demand gap. And I think the other thing that we're seeing is that there's an opportunity for populations that were previously not focused on. So, for example, the reentry population, these are folks who were previously incarcerated. JP Morgan says that about 33% of Americans have a arrest history. That's a lot of people. We don't want those folks to, go back into that situation. And so the best way to do that is to help them get a job.
Let's talk a little bit more, too, about that Series C that you just finished up, $40 million. What do you plan to do with the money?
Well, we've got a great company, about 220 employees. So we're going to hire some senior leadership to help continue our trajectory. The other thing, we've mostly been focused on the English-speaking population, so translating these hands-on trading simulations into Spanish to allow accessibility for a larger population. We also work with rural communities all across America, so we want to expand accessibility to the states that we're not in. We're currently in about 40 states. We want to be in all 50 states, and we want to expand beyond, manufacturing and healthcare as well.
All right, Barney, this was a great conversation. It's great to meet you. Interesting company here, interesting take here right now on the skills gap in the labor market. Barney Rajakumar, he's the founder and CEO of Transfr.